I've been wanting to do some character design, and I thought a good idea would be to take a dessert and then make a character out of it. The one thing that popped into my head was blueberry yogurt parfait, and how I really wanted to try and take those colors and its shape and form, and make some kind of an OC out of it. I'm gonna be completely honest, I've never eaten a parfait before of any flavor. I just liked the way it looked and thought that I could make a good OC out of it. So before I went in and colored the conglomerate of the parfait, I wanted to take the individual items that are in it and then color those instead. Doing this is also going to help me with color matching properly and help form how I want this character to look like. As you can see, on top of the parfait is blueberries, and they have different blues and hues of variation, going from a really light blue to a really deep blue, especially if they're kind of on top of each other and creating that dark shadow. Right under the blueberries is probably blueberry jam or blueberry syrup. I honestly couldn't tell which one it was. I thought probably jam because that's just what makes sense. Just like the blueberries, depending on the way the light hits it, it's either really dark or really light in some areas, like on the spoon where it's very thinned out, it's much lighter than at the edge of the spoon where there's like a big clump where it's much darker because it's got a lot sitting there. So yeah, it just depends on where the light is hitting it, along with the viscosity of the syrup slash jam. For the granola slash oats, I'm gonna say oats honestly, because granola is like a bunch of different things mixed in together. It's very much the same color, but in deeper shades, so I picked a very light brownish beige color and then worked my way down from there. The yogurt, on the other hand, I didn't want to use gray because it is white yogurt, so I used pink, like it was being saturated from the syrup. Otherwise, it would just look like this gray mush pile, and that's not appetizing. So now that I've gotten to intimately know each part of the parfait, I can go ahead and put it all together in its final form, so to speak, and kind of understand how the parfait is almost made. Does that make any sense? I'm not making it, but I'm making it. As stated earlier, the blueberries are at the top, kind of like I think it's more so for aesthetic purposes, I'm gonna be honest, but it's also for the factor that maybe just having the blueberries on top makes it much more appealing to the eye compared to just having red syrup at the top. I mean, that could be true, or maybe it just depends on the person. Doesn't matter, whatever. At the top is the blueberries, under is the syrup, and then we have the yogurt and then the granola, and then it goes ahead and it repeats itself in the pattern. I did a kind of different approach this time when it came to the sketch. I didn't lighten it up, I just kind of went on top of it with everything, and the reason why I did that is because the parfait gave me a very like purpley vibe to it, so the sketch was in purple and I decided to keep it so it could kind of push forward that vibe or continue with it. However, later on I do go over it with some line art in some areas, and I used black line art, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I might just never do that again in the future. So maybe next time, if I do this again and I am drawing the sweet, I'm going to use a line art that is the same color as the sketch. So I should have used purple line art here, but I didn't. But I did use purple line art with the character, which you'll see in a bit. So after I finished coloring and lining everything, I decided to do something worthy of note, which was that the dessert is made of layers, and the dessert is also subtly sweet, which means that it's not very overpowering, kind of like chocolate or candy would be, but instead it has a kind of a very natural or earthy sweetness to it, which doesn't mean that it's not sweet, it's just something much more easy on the taste buds. So using those characteristics along with how everything looks together and the colors, I decided to sketch up this guy off screen. Also, I know this is like totally out of nowhere, but there's just something so great about working with a medium that you love. Like, I hadn't done markers and sketching in like a little bit, and when I was doing this, I was so happy. I was like, my serotonin was through the roof because I was like, yo, I'm having so much fun right now. But besides that, I really like the way this sketch came out. I think he looks like fucking adorable. Like, I really love the way he looks. He's very sweet and The way he peers over to the viewer and looks at them really gives off the thing that I noted earlier, which was the subtly sweet vibe. So you could tell that this character isn't pushing the idea of sweet, but just like the dessert is very subtle with the way he looks onto the viewer. The other thing that I made sure to take note of was the layers, and the best way to honestly approach that whenever it comes to character design in my head is to layer upon the clothing. So as you can see in his top portion of the body, or the torso, whatever's the better word, honestly, I don't know half the time. You could tell that there's the dress shirt underneath it that is kind of unbuttoned from the bottom. On top of that is a sweater, and then on top of that is like a miniature vest. I think that the layering of the clothing really helped push the sweetness of this character, and that kind of makes sense, you know, like whenever you think of a character who has less clothing on, they tend to be more of the sexy or something like that, compared to characters who are more clothed, which are usually more sweet or looked at as more humble or something along those lines in comparison, you know? Of course, that is also dependent on different cultures. That's usually just what I've seen majority of the time, is that the more clothing on a person slash character, the more sweet, humbling slash less sexy slash scandalous, there's a lot of slashes going on here, the person is. So I took that into account when it comes to here. So now that we see the layers are in place, right, I decided to keep them in the same pattern in which you see it in the blueberry parfait. So you have at the top the blueberry, then the syrup, then the yogurt, then the granola, and then it repeats itself. So like at the top of the character over here, you have his blue hair, the blueberries, his first layer of clothing. Oh shit, did I fuck that up? False alarm, false alarm, everyone. My brain is just currently on the fritz. I did not indeed fuck this up. Instead, I see the way I did it. So I did the blueberry hair, then the syrup on the vest at the very top. Under it would be the yogurt sweater, and then under that would be the granola dress shirt. There we go. I'm alright, guys. We got it. So, by logic standards, even though I have very little of it, the bottom would be blue because it would technically just start up a new parfait layer, or a new parfait in general. So we have the blueberry coming back in for the pants, and then theoretically, if there were socks and shoes, the socks would probably be a dark pink, the shoes would be a light pink with like brownish laces, and that's how that outfit would kind of go, which I wish I would have had room to actually color in the shoes and the feet and all that stuff, but this paper is small, and my brain does not like sizing down, it sizes up constantly. So I think the biggest struggle for me when it came to this drawing, right, was the line art, because I originally liked it without any line art, and instead just the purple like sketch coming through. But I was afraid that it wasn't distinguishable enough in how everything looks, and you would lose a little bit of the detail. So I went in with a purple pen, but I kind of don't like how large the ink looked on this character, because they did look so soft, so the bold inking kind of like took that away from them, and I'm kind of upset that it did that. But I was like, I don't know if I should use a lighter purple liner or just a regular black liner. I knew I didn't want to do black liner because it was really harsh on the character, and I didn't want that. So I settled for this purple, but next time I'll definitely either go for a lighter purple liner or like a lighter color liner in general, because I don't know if I'm going to do purple next time, or just take the pencil that I used to sketch with and really darken the outline to help keep from losing any details. Also, I noticed that my white gel pen didn't work really well with this purple pen, and next time I'm gonna make sure I test that out, because that's weird. Usually I would never have that happen. It could be because this is a gel pen and not an inking pen, so that could have had some kind of effect to it. Finally, we have the last part, which is me using some washi stickers for some designs around this character. I really didn't want to just like leave them floating in place, which, I mean, granted, they still are, but now they have some stuff around them, so they're floating a little less. I made sure to pick colors that would match the color scheme of the character, of course, because it wouldn't make sense to do anything otherwise. I really think that the abstract shapes around him helped kind of ground him really nicely, and I love it. I honestly do. So here is the finished result of our character made from a blueberry yogurt parfait, and I really think it suits him very well, and I want to do this again. I wonder what dessert I should do next. Anyway, thanks for watching, and remember I love you. Bye!